Welcome back to Unperfect with Alexi. This is the perfect place for unperfect people. And today I got to come clean with you guys. I have had something in my life that has really made me feel scared and anxious. And I've just been kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop for the last 10 years. And today I was in my EMDR therapy session and I covered this with my therapist. If you have trauma in your life or you have something that is holding you back, please look into EMDR therapy. Like, it is truly, truly game changing. I will drop my therapist below in the description if you want to look at her website. It just makes me feel so much more free. And that's why I'm inspired to talk about it, because I literally just got off this call. And I'm hoping that by me talking about this fear of mine and this experience, that one, it will maybe help somebody seek therapy if they feel that that's the next step for them. Two, to know that words do hurt and words can hurt in your life and they can affect your life. Or three, to know that you're not alone. So around the time I was 16, I started hearing from my grandma 6 words, and these 6 words have affected my life up until present day. The 6 words are: mental illness runs in our family. And I would just hear that over and over, and it would be on a loop in my head. And at the time that my grandma was saying this, my dad was kind of acting crazy. And I knew that other people in my family had suffered with schizophrenia or experienced depression or anxiety. And as I got older, I started looking more for signs that might be me. Because when somebody says mental illness runs in our family, it kind of feels like the other shoe's going to drop at any point. And me, I'm in the demographic of women who find out they're schizophrenic that's in their 20s. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to become schizophrenic because I thought that mailbox was actually a human walking. I mean, it sounds literally insane, but whoever said sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me was a freaking liar, because words do hurt. Words can affect your life. Your tongue is a sword, and you can cut people with it. You can break people down. There are things that were said to me by people who were really close to me when I was younger. They really affected me for a large season in my life. And so this is why I feel the need to tell you guys about this therapy session that I just got off of, because it feels like the pot was taken off the burner. Over the last couple weeks, I've realized that I am a control freak, and I'm like preemptively controlling things because I don't want other people to get mad, or I want things to look a certain way, or I just want things to be a certain way because that feels safe to me. You guys may have known this about me, but I just figured this out last week, so please bear with me and give me grace. Thank you. So I go into this EMDR session and I'm like, listen, I want to talk about my control issues, because I realized that I have control issues, but I'm also afraid of losing control because I don't want to like be unsnapped or say something that hurts somebody or do something that I regret or just go crazy. Like, that's my biggest fear, is like losing actual control of my body, losing control of my mind, losing control of myself, and going crazy. And this all stems from these 6 words that my grandma told me, who she was doing the best she could at the time with the knowledge she had. Like, if you guys knew her story, like, I wish she would have written a book about her life before she died, because she truly has an amazing story. Like, she was a survivor. She came from generations and generations and generations of trauma that's just been passed down and passed down. Drug abuse, alcohol abuse, prostitution, parents getting electroshock therapy for having a mental breakdown, alcoholic parents, grandparents that just disappeared off the face of the planet. Like, there's just so much shit that came before my grandma, and she was a curse breaker. She was a cycle breaker. She broke generational patterns, and she passed the torch to my mom, and now my mom passed the torch to me, and hopefully I will pass the torch to my kids, and we will all just be more well-rounded. That's why I'm in therapy, because I'm just constantly trying to evolve. Regardless, the words that my grandma said affected me, and they made me start looking for signs that I'm going crazy and that I'm going to lose control. And so I've been trying to control every little thing around me, even down to the way that my kids and I do arts and crafts. Like, are you freaking kidding me, Lex? Really? I'm glad I have the awareness now, and I could take it to therapy, because she truly changed the game for me today. She changed everything. To give you a little bit more context, my grandma raised 5 of her siblings. That must have been so hard for her. And this is like the 1930s, 40s. 50s, there's not like a lot of support. So that fear of losing control and just one day waking up and being schizophrenic and just waiting for the other shoe to drop, it has freaked me the frick out, especially after having kids, because now I have people that are very dependent on me and I want to show up and be the best version I can of myself for them. That's a huge reason why I quit drinking, why I've severely cut back on my THC, even go through periods of quitting. That's why I've started going to the gym. That's why I've started going to therapy. That's why I've been trying to eat better and really making my life more well-rounded, because I want to be the best version of myself for my kids that I can't be. I want to be the best version of myself for my husband that I can't be, for my friends, for the people around me. I'm just trying to be the best version of myself. But this constant fear of losing control and not being in control and just feeling anxious about the future and what if I go crazy and what if I end up in a psych ward and what if, all of these fears stem from those 6 words, you guys. Like, words are so freaking powerful. In one side of my brain, I know that I literally show 0 signs of it, but the other side of my brain's like, well, what if? Well, what if it happens? And I really hope that someone will message me and tell me I'm not alone in this, because I feel insane. I feel insane for talking about this out loud. Honestly, I've never disclosed this to anybody, but I feel like it is so important because I feel like I finally moved past it. What EMDR is you look left and right, and you follow this ball on the screen. And there is something about your eyes moving back and forth when you're thinking a traumatic type thought, or you're thinking a thought, that helps your brain kind of process the trauma or process the thought. And so as we go through the sessions of EMDR and I'm sitting here telling her the fear that I have, I realized the thing about that statement that makes me so angry is it takes away from healing. Kind of a band-aid of like, well, this is just what it is. It just runs in our family and we can't do anything about it, which is such bullshit. If you're going to get my unpopular opinion about this, it's that every mental illness, anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar, BPD, narcissism, it's all stemming from something that happened in your lived experience, in your human experience, whether or not it has been resolved or even addressed. That is my belief. If you disagree with me, that is fine. But that is my belief and that is my opinion, and that's what's going to help me sleep better at night. So just let me have it, okay? But as we went through these sessions of EMDR and looking back and forth, I started to realize how mad it made me, because those 6 words of mental illness runs in my family, I've been fighting those 6 words and that thought of the potential of me losing control for years now. What was interesting during this call when I was talking to my therapist is she said, it sounds like your grandma used that phrase to shield herself, maybe from some guilt of how everything went down, how things transpired. And just that mindset shift of that was what she had to say to protect herself, and that's what she believed to protect herself, and it's not necessarily the truth. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like I'm going crazy. I have no signs. I have no confirmation bias in my own life that I am going crazy at this time in 2024. That's not to say that I never will go crazy, but it's what's been haunting me is the fear of the other shoe to drop, is the what if, is the, oh my gosh, if I had some diagnosis, I lose all credibility, I lose all control, like I lose all of these things. When in reality, it's all stemming back to those 6 words. Mental illness runs in our family. Also, she brought up the fact that trauma information hasn't really been available, and it just started in the 80s. And this was way past my grandma's generation. I'm talking like she did all this in the 30s and 40s, started having kids in the 50s, before trauma was even a thing. Did you know PTSD wasn't even recognized until the 80s? Can you imagine the people on the Titanic who survived the sinking? All of that trauma and all the PTSD they must have had and all the crazy they must have felt from going through that very traumatic experience, and how the world probably just looked at them like, well, you're crazy. You need to be locked up in an insane asylum. The bigger overlying point of this podcast is mental health is so important. Putting labels on ourselves, no matter if it's anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar, acne, PCOS, eczema, psoriasis, autoimmune diseases, like all of these things manifest from somewhere, from something. I don't think that we're innately born just like, well, guess what? you're fricked. You're going to be sick for the rest of your life. I think that a lot of it has to do with our lived experiences and our human experience and the things that we consume visually, what we watch, what we read, audibly, what we hear. It all affects us. It affects our brain and our gut. That's another thing. Gut health is still so freaking new, but your gut health affects almost everything physical in your body, in your life. Your brain affects a lot also, but your gut affects so much. That's why they call it a second brain. If you have not looked into your gut health or what gut health is, you need to. Did you know 90% of your serotonin, like that mood stabilizer hormone, is made in your gut? People who have bad gut health have been linked to have more depression. I feel like culture doesn't want us to take care of ourselves. Like, riddle me this. Why in the grocery stores is there so much processed crap if the American people who are supposed to take care of us actually care about our health? My opinion, here's my conspiracy, is that the food that is on the shelves in the stores feeds the pharmaceutical industry. That's just my opinion. That's my conspiracy theory. I should do an episode on conspiracy theories. That'd be so fun. Did you hear that pop? That was my jaw. My jaw is popping. My jaw is cool. It's been so interesting to see how everything is connected, how words that have been said to me, how trauma in my past, how lived experiences, how what I watch, what I hear, what I eat, what I do for myself, how I take care of myself. All of this is connected to your mental health. I want you to take this as a PSA to start taking care of yourself. And I don't mean just doing self-care and doing little bubbly masks. Eat better foods. Move your body. Complete the stress cycle. Start going to therapy. Change your mindset. Change your perspective. Talk to people that you trust. Because guys, I am telling you what, if I would not have talked to my therapist about those 6 words that have been haunting me for the last 10 years, I would have continued operating from that place of fear. I went into that therapy session feeling like I was at a 7 or an 8, where that pain and that fear of that happening was just living so prevalently on my chest, to leaving that therapy session at maybe a 2 or a 3. And it feels so nice to release that weight and to realize that, you know what? Everything's going to be okay. And even if it's not, it's still going to be okay. One day. So this is your reminder to take care of yourself and to not believe everything that you see and that you hear. Guys, your health is so much more important than you're prioritizing right now. And it's not just about diets and cleanses and resets. It's about changing your lifestyle for good. It's about doing things that are going to help you in the long run, that make you feel better, and letting go of the things that literally do not serve you. I physically feel lighter. When we were doing the session, she asked like where I felt it in my body. I felt very tight in my jaw, like I was clenching my jaw. It felt very hollow all the way down to my gut, where it felt a little bit nauseous. And now I feel light. Like I feel like my jaw's releasing. I feel more full in my body, and my gut feels so much lighter. Like there's not that anxiety that's living there right now. Wherever you are in your journey right now, I just want to applaud you for getting to where you are, because I know life is hard and I know the human experience is not easy, no matter what it is that you suffer with. And I also just want you to remember that nobody gets out of their childhood unscathed. I know you've had it bad. I know you have had things that have broken you, made you feel less than, made you wonder if you could even go on. But the fact that you are still here to this day, listening to this podcast, listening to me talk to you about something very tender and personal in my life, that shows your true strength and resilience. The fact that you even showed up another day, because that's the hard thing to do, but it's the right thing to do. It's to keep going. You have people who love you. You have people who rally around you. Yeah, people can say things that can affect you, but at the end of the day, you are ultimately accountable for your own life, for your health, for your mental well-being, for healing. It's your job. You are accountable for your healing. You are accountable for being the next best version of yourself. You are accountable for breaking those generational cycles. Just because it happened to you doesn't mean you have to keep passing it down. Just because it happened to you doesn't mean you need to continue the cycle. You can be the change breaker. You know, when people talk about generational curses and generational trauma, generational curses are things that are passed down. So that would be like my grandma saying mental illness runs in our family to me, and then me going to my kids and saying that to them. Like that's how that shit gets passed on. I made a vow to literally never say that to my kids, because I don't even want them to think that ever in their life, because it's not true. It's the furthest thing from the truth. Whatever trauma they're inevitably going to have in their life, I'm always going to encourage them to heal, to go seek help, to get therapy, to talk to somebody, to take care of themselves, to go work out, get that energy out of their body, to trust God, to read the Bible, get in the Word, to tap into the creative, to not ruminate on the things that are weighing them down, to heal from them, to live a better life. And I know it's so much easier said than done, but you can do it. You really can. And I am living proof that you can do this. Okay, because I could have easily taken everything that has happened in my life and just sat on my ass and rotted for the rest of my life. I could have easily done that. I could have made that choice to do that because that's the easier thing to do. But instead, I decided that I wanted to heal and that I wanted to make a better life for myself and that I wanted to continue breaking those curses that my grandma and my mom have broken for the last 2 generations. I decided to take the torch and to say, okay, we're going to do better. We're not going to let this affect our lives anymore. We're not going to pass this on. Yes, it sucks that this happened to me, and it sucks that this was the hand of cards that was dealt, and those are the things that I heard and experienced. But what a divine opportunity to be better, to do better, to make change in the world, because no doubt you are making change in the world when you heal your pain, when you heal your trauma. Your pain serves a purpose, and it always will. And I hope you remember that. If you guys can relate to literally anything I said in this podcast, can you please let me know? Because I feel a little bit alone on this. But also, I would love for you guys to take a screenshot of you listening to this and tag me in your Instagram stories, because that's like sending a referral to a friend, and nothing makes me more happy. This is also the point of the podcast where I remind you to leave a 5-star review. I love reading them. And if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below. You guys, thank you so much for being here week after week. You guys truly make my day. I love our Unperfect Tuesdays together, and I cannot wait to see you next Tuesday. Love you. Bye.